Well, all right. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Start this day off right.
Start the week off right.
Mm-hmm. Is it Monday? It's Monday, isn't it? How come it feels like a Friday? I'm just all Bob Domalina discombobulated. All right. There we go. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. What's happening? Monday, November 7th, 2022. Just trying to wake on up, get up, move your body. How you doing over there, buddy? Get your bucket on again?
Oh yeah, representing. Always. The highest of 7 hills.
Oh, I like that. The highest of 7 hills on November the 7th.
Ooh. All right.
7 up. Somebody asked me, is there life after death? I said it's 7 up. Good morning, good morning. Let me jump on in the chat because I see we got some good mornings already. What's happening? Hey, Kimber Snipe says good morning. What's going on, Pops? Good Monday morning. All love from Las Vegas. Appreciate you, Pops. And Omar Valentine says morning, fam. Beth Davis Wilson says good morning. What's happening to you? Laura Lynette said morning. Good morning, all. I saw you at the Malcolm X opera last night. Let us know how that was.
Hey.
Mark Manor gives us a good morning. What's going on, brother? Brooke Allen says morning. What's happening? What's happening? Kimber Snipes reminding us of what's going on today. One more day till elections, y'all. Don't forget to come party after the polls, 2 to 6. Create your pledge to check your civic health year round.
There you go.
Year round civic health. Get this graphic out of the way here. There we go. All right. Shout out to the 630 crew. I already got love from the playlist this morning. Appreciate you very much for tuning in and listening. You can always go to firstskyOmaha.com, hit the listen button.
Yeah.
Get your groove on. Good morning to all of you. Thank you very much for joining us right now. It is the 7th day of November, 2022, day before Election Day.
Yeah.
And thanks for joining us. Good morning, buddy. What's going on with you? Good morning to you as well. How you doing?
Hanging in there, recharging, looking forward to getting ready to another week. Had a kind of uneventful weekend, man. Just kind of chilled out. Trying to catch up on my sleep, man. I did have like a late studio session over the weekend. That's kind of just dominated my weekend as far as my sleeping schedule. But, other than that, chilling out, cleaning up the house, trying to charge the batteries. That's all. There
you go. Appreciate that.
Yeah. How about yourself, man?
It was I just kind of worked in kind of just worked, and then unfortunately I had things I was trying to do yesterday, but we had a show at the Benson Theater with the Omaha the OEAA Awards, so I was running around getting that together and couldn't make the opera, but everybody represented, man. I saw Kimber Snipes there dressed to the nines. She said the opera was amazing. So that's what's up. Good morning to you, Leah Keister, and Wanda Lewis. Good morning to you as well. And so it was. I saw the photos, man. Everybody was there representing and turning out. It was what's up. Mark Manor said that Malcolm X opera was the best I've visually seen, and the music was the best. Had some jazz in the mix. Really unique, cool opera.
Nice.
That's dope. Super dope. Yeah, man. I take it you went on Friday, Mark, or did you go Sunday? So good stuff, man. I'm happy to see people out representing. The weather did not turn on us. We did not get that 2 to 4 on Saturday. It's actually pretty nice this weekend. So that was what's up. Erica Felt gives us good morning. Good morning to you. How are you? Let us know how you
Man,
are these days. Kimber Snipe says, "I got to take a pledge, though, to be entered, not the drawing." She's talking about the drawing prizes and things that she's got in the chat. We'll definitely talk about that during the haps. But it looks like if you come to that after party that they have from the Tuesday party that they're going to have after the election, then you can come and. She says, "One more day to elections. Let's see." This pledge that you're talking about, create this pledge to check your civic health year round. It's you got it broken up here, so I'm trying to catch some
yeah,
stuff. Prizes, two $100 GC. Yeah, we'll come back to this. We'll come back. Yeah, it's too much information real quick in the morning. Like we talk about this on the haps. Rose
gotta warm
reviews.
up.
Man, I dropped the drive shaft in my truck, and now I'm stuck like Chuck. Oh man, got to take the day off and work on getting back in. Well,
Mm. Man, I'm dealing with some car issues too, man. Hoopty crew.
hoop the
Yeah, it's
crew.
always a headache, man. Always a headache.
I finally took mine over to my main man, and I'm not even gonna tell him who it is. I don't even want nobody hitting him up. He's all mine. So he fixed
Oh, you gonna do us like that,
I'm gonna do
man?
y'all like that, man. Yep. So he got me tight, and I'm like for the first time feeling like the car is not gonna the tires ain't gonna fall off the car. So that's what's up.
Man, man.
Mark Mensch said Friday I was logging with you at the theater. Oh, that's right. Yep. Saw you a lot this weekend on stuff. That's what's up, man. I'm glad that we were able to get out and do some things. That's right. So yeah, man, Lager was dope. Chris Lager played at the for First Fridays over at the Benson Theater. He had a
Nice.
whole. It was Danny Cleveland was singing backup, and Angelique was singing backup, and they had Hector Anchondo on stage, and it was dope. It was
He
really,
had the
really dope.
head.
I was impressed. Yeah, I was impressed. Angelique did I Want to Dance with Somebody. Whitney Houston turned the place out, had everybody up on their feet. Super dope.
Nice, nice, nice. You kind of glossed over it, but I do want to give a shout out to our partners over at OEAAs. Give a shout out to some of the artists that were, nominated during the announcements. I think my man Jay Crumb got some love.
Yep, yep.
Dope artists. So yeah. Shout out to everybody that received a nomination from the OEAAs. It's nice to see that platform still moving and grooving.
Yeah, I like what's happening with it. We live streamed it last night. You can go to the Omaha Entertainment and Arts Awards on their Facebook page or their YouTube page and check out the show. We also broadcasted it from the first Sky Omaha page last night as well.
Yep.
So you can go and check it out anywhere you want to check it out, see who the nominees were, and get ready for the big day. That's what's up. So, yeah, man, and thanks for everybody that's just joining us right now. Again, 7:08. If you believe in the concept of time, and you're on a Monday here with us, First
Yeah.
Sky Omaha in the morning, November 7th, 2022. I don't know what that means to you, but it's for me. It means last day to pay rent, so I better hurry up.
Yeah, that part, and big on the sevens. We're big on the sevens around here.
Most definitely.
But speaking of big days, we do have a lot of guests coming through today. Again, as Sister Kimra said, it is one day away. 24 hours, well, actually a little over 24 hours, because I think you have like until like 6 or something tomorrow to cast your ballot. But yeah, one more day to vote. So we will definitely have a few candidates a few people coming to stop by to talk to us. Our brother Gonzalez, who's running for Douglas County Sheriff, will be stopping through. Supposed to have Brianna full as well. And also expecting a few guests on our usual Monday rotation. Expecting Natalia Alamdari from Flatwater Free Press to come through and speak with us as well. So another jam-packed day on your hands. Also, we will be having that special broadcast tomorrow to prepare for election. So again, look out for that. But of course, if you have any questions for our candidates, feel free to drop that into the chat. Or if you'd like to join the conversations, we also do have several topics to discuss today. A few updates, definitely getting more news about that child welfare situation in Nebraska. If you remember the St. Francis Ministries debacle that went on for several years, and now that contract is finally taken over by the state. But are things for the better? So we'll look at that in the situation, especially what some of these caseworkers are dealing with, getting the firsthand account from them. Also, continuing with the children, man, looking at what's going on in education. We had Debneri on last week, and we had a few guests come through, and it seems like that same energy continued into the latest state board of education meeting. So we'll dive into what happened with that, and then also a new task force that the state board is preparing for school safety. So we'll definitely look into that in light of recent school shootings and things like that. We'll definitely love to hear from parents out there on this subject. Also, following the bag, big shout outs to our brothers and sisters over there at the Winnebago Tribe. Looks like they're making some strides and changing the game a little bit, turning to different forms of farming, which is actually a conversation we had here on the show in regards to the LB 1022 and some of the money that's coming in. How, what types of industries can we create? And Paul, you were kind of adamant on getting into the farming and food security and creating that infrastructure. So this might be in that direction. So we'll talk about that and more. Of course, if there's anything on your hearts or minds that we're not talking about, feel free to drop that into the chat. And we'll try to get into it, man. Conversation rules the nation. This is a conversation platform where we try to get down to the nitty gritty of what's going on in our community, in our backyards, man. So appreciate everybody for tuning in right now. It's about 11 minutes. Did I miss anything, Paul?
No, well, we're definitely going to talk about this photo that's worth 1,000 words. We posted a photo on first Sky Omaha yesterday, and it was interesting photo that had me kind of like, okay, I wonder what's going on here, and that's why I posted it. Wanted to get what the chat chimers thought. It was a group of black leaders and elders posing with Pete Rickets, and there was a lot of conversation, a lot of comments and stuff that went on. And as a matter of fact, kind of made a couple people mad. I think Bill King is over on 95.7 The Boss right now having a discussion about it. I wish we can mix his show in with this and hear what he's talking about, but we'll check it out after ours. But definitely made some people mad, some of the responses that was given. And so we'll definitely be talking about that because that came up big time over the last day or so. I guess there's been a lot of comments. So definitely we'll talk about that and some more stuff. Just hear what everybody has to say about things, and my reasoning for putting the photo up on for Friends of First Sky and so on. So we'll talk about it, and we'll continue to talk about these things. And I think other than that, man, just getting ready for all these guests that we have. It's a special day of guests. We ended up having 4 guests today, so it's going to be a fast paced show. Definitely stay in with us and hang with us. It's got to be it's gonna go fast. It's gonna go quick. So, but lots to talk about today because tomorrow is vote day. So that's what this is all about. And also, don't forget we do have a special election edition happening tomorrow. Buddy mentioned. Go ahead and put that ticker right there, featuring Michelle Troxclair this time around. So we'll definitely talk about it, and that's about it, man. So I appreciate everybody that's joined in as well. We got a lot of appreciation here on this show for everybody. It blows my mind when we are talking in the chat. We're the only ones that's got the most intelligent, best, productive chat on earth, I think, because every time people use the chat in such ugly ways, you know what I'm saying? And but that's not with us. That's not with us. So I'm looking forward to the discussion today, and we can go ahead and jump into it.
Big shout out and love to all the chat chimers, man. As Mama, I was talking to Mama God. She said she was kind of giving us kudos on the community that we built, and she definitely used the word community. So man, one of the roots of community is unity. So we definitely appreciate everybody. That's what we're trying to do, is bring people together and create some change, man. So let's go ahead and get this show on the road. As we mentioned, got a jam-packed show for you today, about 14 minutes into the hour. So let's go ahead and get rolling. Paul, Beeee Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you, the fam, the co-hosts, the chat chimers, even the ghost listeners, we appreciate you too. We love you. We thank you. First Sky Omaha, let's go.
Let's do it. What up? Good morning. Thanks for joining us. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
in the morning.
All Beeee Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you, the chat chimers, the ghost listeners, everybody who's chimed into the chat. If you're on Facebook, do us a favor and share the show. Share the show so we can get as many people in the chat as possible to have this discussion even be bigger than it is. Also, if you're on YouTube, I really appreciate everybody over there on YouTube as well. You share the show and do all those good things over there on YouTube, like and subscribe, sign your pity on the running kind, do all the
Hey,
stuff. Do all the things, man. Appreciate you very much. Welcome to a fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning. We are the new NWA. That's News Gang with Attitude, and
hey,
it's all good, man. It's going down here, and thanks to y'all. Shout out to the 630 crew and everybody who's over on the radio channel listening to us as well. Thank you very much. In the chat, we do have people giving us some good mornings. Terry Cropper said, "Good morning, First Sky." Yes, it's go time. Got that right.
hey.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. Also, Josh Takes says, "Good morning and happy voting week." I like that. Very much so. Ghost Listener 402, term leaders is a huge stretch. We'll be talking about
Hmm.
the picture worth that's worth 1,000 words. Also, the best chat. We are just giving what we are getting. Thank you to all. I like that. Yeah,
Okay.
man.
Thank you.
You put in what you get out what you put in around here. Linda Chicago says, "Happy Monday. Appreciate your show today and every day." Thank you very much. Well, appreciate you listening and coming in and contributing with us. So, with that said, thank you so much for everybody that's joined us. Let's go ahead and jump into the show because we do have 4 guests coming in today. Lots of fast paced, lots of fast moving conversation that's going to happen today. So, stick with us. In the meantime, between time, buddy, what's on the agenda?
Man, well, actually, let's kick off with some good news. Let's kick off with some good news.
Yep, yep.
Shout out to our Winnebago Tribe brothers and sisters up the road, if you will. This is being reported by the Omaha World Herald, kind of following the bag theme of this season. And looks like some good news, man. I'm actually excited for the future for this move. The Winnebago Tribe is reportedly turning to organic farming and looking to build a future for food sovereignty, which is definitely an interesting term, food sovereignty, but is definitely something that we all should be thinking about, especially those of us who live in areas like North Omaha, which are regarded as food deserts. Again, this is a conversation we had on the show about how can we create industry, how can we create infrastructure in our own community, and food sovereignty, or maintaining your own food is definitely one of those. And looks like they got a good start. 64,000 acres this year that we farm. That's according to Aaron LaPointe with the Whole Chunk Incorporated, saying that we're pretty much spread out all across the reservation. There's a map that actually details 178 square miles of the Winnebago Reservation in northeast Nebraska, and also depicts a success story for the tribe. Of course, in 2012, the Winnebago Tribe aimed to change course by developing a land leasing policy that furthered opportunities for Native American farmers to lease tribal land. That policy actually brought an estimated $10 million to $12 million to the tribe. And now, a decade later, the tribe is looking to build a future that goes beyond that success. Through multiple programs, the tribe is moving toward food sovereignty while teaching sustainable farming sustainable farming practices to future generations of native farmers. LaPointe went on to say a lot of tribal nations preach that they're a sovereign nation, but if you can't feed yourself, you can't produce your own food. How sovereign are you? Yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful. LaPointe is the senior agro business manager with Ho Chunk Farms, a subsidiary of Ho Chunk Incorporated. The Winnebago Tribe found Ho Chunk Incorporated in 1994 as an economic development tool. And if I'm not mistaken, Ho Chunk Incorporated is also the corporation behind the casino that just opened up.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're definitely making some moves, man. Big shout out to the Winnebago Tribe, kind of showing us, how you can move as a collective, if you will.
I got to get a whole chunk T-shirt. Them
Man,
cats doing the thing. I really appreciate this good news here. That thing they brought up there saying, how can you be a sovereign nation if you can't provide yourself food?
hello.
We in the Black community ask ourselves this all the time: can we control our own food? I mean, that's nationalist talk right from the jump. So, very good question. I'm glad to see that they're making some moves on that. It's very inspiring to get that going. Like you said, man, that's something that we could be using in the Black community, especially in the North Side. Like, I wasn't just talking about having little neighborhood farms in here. I'm talking about agriculture. I'm talking about building a modern agriculture facilities that you can grow stuff in all year round and be a source in a business to be able to sell that stuff out past our neighborhoods. I really think that's a big thing. I knew Beth Davis Wilson was going to chime in on this. She says not on any subject, but oh, okay, this is something else. Are we looking for some help cleaning up the east side of our property? Know any businesses to hire for that? We used to do it, getting too old. We'll come back to that. Yeah, we'll definitely come back to that. I already know some volunteers that we can get together and come over there and help you out on that. But Beth Davis Wilson, tell us, if you have any comments on this situation on Ho Chunk doing this organic farming, how we can utilize their example on the north side. I know that me and you have had many discussions on that, so that's what's up. Appreciate that. Marianne Williams says, "Good morning. Winnebago also won a $266,000 grant from EPA to monitor air quality. Very nice." They also, she put the article in the chat there. They also got some money to just recently in order to expand their broadband, which
Yeah.
I thought that was a part of what William King was doing, and I found out it's not. So there's some things there where they came in to take care of some of their own business, and I'm not really sure what that deal is with William King. So we got a couple things to talk to Brother King about. Maybe we can bring him on the show, or we can get on his show and have some discussions. So yeah, keep that in mind, and we'll talk about that a little later. But yeah, Ho Chunk doing the thing for sure. Really appreciate hearing about that news. It's always good when somebody is taking some strides to take care of themselves that way. So that's what's up.
Oh, yeah.
In the meantime, between time, we did a 721 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, and we do have a special guest waiting in the wings, so I'd like to bring him on, and we will talk about that a little bit on this election week. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Brother Greg Gonzalez in the house, running for Douglas County Sheriff. Good morning to you, my brother. How you doing?
Good morning, gentlemen. Hey, thanks for the invite. How are
Yeah,
you?
man. Appreciate you coming on, man. I know lots to talk about here before we go in to vote tomorrow, and everybody's doing their last minute pitch and jumping on. So we appreciate you coming on our little show when you can be on all these other places and spreading your message. But this is home for you here for us. So
Right
appreciate you
on.
doing it.
Oh, yeah.
I
Definitely
appreciate
welcome
that.
whenever.
How's the campaign going?
You know, we're at the end of the road, Paul. You know,
Yeah.
it's been a dogfight, as you all know, and really, we did what we did. We've knocked over 40,000 doors. We've
Wow.
raised, honestly, who would have thought we'd had to raise $250,000 in this race, and that's without dark money. That's
Right.
legitimate, you know, grassroots money, from dollars up to good donors, and we've did our part to talk to all the neighbors, knocking on doors, really running on my experience, because that's what's important, right? You want to put the best individual in the lineup. You know, I was 10 years, I was assistant deputy police chief at the city, and my community service and everything I've done in the community. And I tell everybody, just Google my name. You know, you'll find out what we've done in the community. You know, I'm proud to say that I'll work for, you know, every corner of this county. And this is a landmark, you know, the sheriff was in office 26 years, you guys, and
Wow.
a stronghold by the Republican Party, very conservative sheriff who, you, as you all know, I've even had to, you know, go on conservative talk radio to battle him head on, because I'm not scared of anybody, and I'll stand on my record, you know, every day of the week, and it's been challenging because I've been getting hit from every different angle, and it's exhausting, but I think it's worth the fight at the end of the day. And we'll see. You know, love to have the voters. The voters will speak tomorrow. You know, and we'll leave it in the good Lord's hands and see where we end up.
That's what's up.
There you go.
Kimber Snipes in the chat says OG. That's what's up, man. Yeah, really appreciate that. Last time you came on, I appreciated the fact that you were talking about. You actually kind of changed my mind about whether or not we need more law enforcement. I'm always for less law enforcement, but more law enforcement will make it so that we can do things like they did in the old days, where they walked the beat and got
Yeah,
to know the neighborhood and so on and so forth. And I really appreciate you talking about that. If
sure.
anybody has any questions for Brother Gonzalez in the chat, go ahead and throw them in. He's only here for a short time because he's got a lot of campaigning to do today, so
Yeah.
we're not going to hold him too long. One thing I did want to ask you about, just
Mhm.
just in general, like we learned last time you were here that the sheriff's office is really the office that handles the juvenile justice center stuff,
Yeah.
and I wanted to know what your thoughts were on how you're going to handle that when you become sheriff.
Well, it's important. I'm the only candidate that's really going to support it's not just talk and rehabilitation. Look at my track record for working with youth on the north side, south side, with our police athletic league. And so the sheriff does oversee the new juvenile justice center. So it's really, you need a sheriff that's going to fight for programming, fight for our kids, and continue to work on, juvenile justice as it relates to keeping kids out of school and keeping out of the juvenile justice system. And that's something that I've been a pioneer for over time. And I'm going to continue to fight down in Unicamera for that because, we all know this is scientific. One of the things that has come up down at the Juvenile Justice Center is there enough bed space? And are we going to be overflowing? Well, there's enough philanthropic support in this community to be able to serve our youth. The violent offenders, obviously, as we all know, that's a challenging piece with juvenile violence, and to make sure that individuals are held accountable, but they're not stuck in the juvenile justice center. What we're finding out over time is disproportionately we have brown and black kids in the youth center that are sitting there for months and months over time and not addressed through the juvenile court system. So there's the whole piece people need to be sitting at the table, and we can't just arrest our way out of problem, gentlemen. You all know that, right?
Right.
If we have status offenders in the juvenile justice center, kids that need a second chance, don't just say they need a second chance. You have to be in front of the problem saying, okay, where's the programming for these young men and women? And what are we doing as a community and elected leaders to make sure that the numbers of juveniles in the youth center are down and not above, the maximum threshold? Because that's our problem. We need to look at ourselves and say, well, what are we doing to help our youth? And so for me, I'm very passionate about youth, obviously, coming from the inner city. And I know that we do need second chances, but we have to fight for the programming to give individuals second chances. But then on a second note, we also have to have people, elected leaders, that want to have the courage to stand up when individuals need to be released early from, let's say, prison. And I'm not talking like some people will spin at these real violent offenders. There are a lot of inmates that need second chances. And if they don't have the opportunity, if they have to jam out in prison and they don't have the opportunity for early release to be able to assimilate those individuals back in society that have children out on the streets of this city, then we're only hurting ourselves, because the statistics are real. 95% of the inmates, even on the adult side, they are coming back to the streets of this city. So what are we doing to help them? How many are mentally ill? They say about 40% of the inmates in the correctional center are mentally ill.
40%.
And it's a revolving door. They're coming in, they're coming out. So what are we doing about it? So there are so many facets of this. The juvenile side, for me, I'm very passionate about, but I've been from Boys and Girls Club. Since I was a rookie cop, I'm on Boys and Girls Club byproduct. I work with all the community leaders at the youth center. And that's in my opinion, that's what's going to be important to set the future of tomorrow. Because if we can't get kids little, and we can't get the buy-in of families little, which what we try to do with even our police athletic league, it's about families and engagement and trust. And if we don't get them early, then I think part of the problem is that's on law enforcement too. I feel that we have a duty as law enforcement public officials to be able to embed ourselves with the community. And that's going to impact those numbers. And I will take a strong hold on legislation. I'll work with community leaders to make sure that not only we're fighting crime and keeping the community safe, we're also making sure that youth that don't belong in the system are not in there forever and months at a time missing school, and it's impacting their family. So I appreciate that question, because there's a lot of tenets to it.
Yeah.
Just want to jump in there 1 minute. In 1 minute, can you give us a little bit of statement on qualified immunity? Sorry, I just heard an echo there.
Yeah, qualified immunity is an issue that's probably going to be obviously addressed at the legislative level, because there's a lot of layers to that. Police officers, if they're acting in good faith, the idea was if they're acting in good faith, that they had some sort of a buffer to protect them from, litigation and losing their, their families, their everything they earn for their houses but I'm not an attorney, Paul, but I will tell you this, that is such a complex issue because qualified immunity was never designed really to strip everybody of their, let's call it, their protections of acting under good faith. Because police officers, they're normal people, right? We're human people we make mistakes. I think what people really need to focus on is we have laws in place. For example, Mr. Chauvin in Minneapolis. If you have police officers out there that are reckless, take another man's life, and there's some malicious intent or recklessness, we already have civil rights laws in place to address those individuals. So I think it's kind of like gun laws. I think that there are laws in place to address, bad police officers. And that's one of the things I've talked about against, even on this campaign. People have asked me, well, release this, release that, release this. You know what I told them? Let's codify a law. If you want to talk about misconduct in police officers that maybe are working in the community that shouldn't be working in the community, that have sustained complaints of serious misconduct, of excessive force, of racial profiling, should those names be public? Should there be a system in place that's fair and equitable so individuals know who those bad police officers are? Even like you knew a bad attorney or a bad doctor, you could Google their name. I stood firm on that. I said, look, if you want to really make change and you want transparency, you want to support Senator McKinney's bill that could be in the law, which the police union did not support last go around, that's real change. Because then people, look, transparency is the good, bad, and the ugly. I mean, you all know that, right? Mm-hmm. Police officers make mistakes, and sometimes it doesn't look good. So, but we have to own it. If you want to own our problems, then you have to codify stuff in law. That's my position. So qualified immunity, I don't know enough about every state's a little bit different on the federal level, the different layers of it. It's hard for me to really make an informed decision of it, but I will tell you this. I stand firm on police officers like Mr. Chauvin that take another man's life, and it's clear that they need to be held accountable for their actions.
Okay, appreciate it. We'll definitely have to have you back and talk a little bit more deeply on that subject as well, because I want to do that with anybody in law enforcement that I bring onto the show, because we definitely have some viewpoints on that. So not too much time that we have left with you here, but we really appreciate you coming on and giving us a few more tidbits on what it is that's going on. And just, I know you got an appeal to people to go ahead and get out here and vote tomorrow. And I'll do that. I did have a question in the chat. Miss Erica Fell says, do you think the 13-year-old felon is gone? I'm kind of think that she's asking about whether or not, a child can be convicted as an adult, and if they're just done for the rest of their life. So, and I know that I'm hearing that you're passionate about, getting the youth early. What do you think about that thing is, that happens to black and brown boys a lot of times, where they're being treated like adults in situations?
That's a question. We can't give up on anybody, number one, first and foremost. And so there are so many different type of felonies that are out there. It's kind of a loaded question, but I will tell you that you could maybe have a felony possession of narcotics, and you're in a vehicle of 3 individuals, and you could get charged because maybe that the narcotics are in the car and it's in nobody's pocket, but it's in the car. And then maybe everybody gets charged. Yes. So we need to really have prosecutors that critically look at each and every circumstance. And so, no, we can't give up on 13-year-old kids. I mean, look, this is kind of what I always revert back to. If the human brain doesn't really adequately mold and mature until you're the age of 25, then one could argue even all the way up until the age of 25, we're making mistakes that sometimes aren't maybe the best, right? And so our judgment's not the best. So we make mistakes, and there needs to be laws set in place, just like there are for juveniles up until the age of 18, where we critically look at the offenses to make sure that those don't impact them the rest of their lives. How many felons do you all know? And people will say, well, I'm a felon, maybe I'm not hiring. So we're taking steps now because there's companies that are hiring felons. Mm-hmm. And we need to be out there in the public to make sure we're fighting for those individuals to help that, because that's That's the important piece to make sure kids do have second chances. If you had, let's say, a shoplifting case and you're a juvenile, now at least the law allows anything in your juvenile record, absent probably, certain violent crimes, to be expunged from your record because you're a juvenile. That's the purpose of the juvenile justice system. So all those types of layers, Paul, I've seen in law enforcement. I've been an advocate for juvenile justice as deputy police chief. From hiring to training police officers, I see the mistakes that even we make as human beings. So we're not perfect. We don't expect the community to be perfect, which is why we need to have empathetic police officers and empathetic prosecutors that understand the dynamics. Sometimes that kids make mistakes, and we call them kids because they're kids, they're youth.
Yeah. We definitely a lot more to talk about on this. Josh Tate is saying he's hoping that you'll come back to the show after you get elected, so we can have some deeper discussions on this. We do want to, especially on this subject alone, bring up some things like if a child commits murder at 13, is he still a child or should he be an adult? So this is what this show's about: is deeper conversation and continued conversation about stuff.
Mhm.
And we're not asking you for any sound bites and this is what he thinks and blah blah blah. We'll have you definitely come back and discuss it even further if you don't mind doing that.
No, absolutely. I mean, and those are really interesting debates
Mhm.
because those are going to impact you the rest of your life, and those, every situation is different, right? Murder, manslaughter, second degree murder. There's so many different levels of murder and circumstances.
Yeah.
Okay. Self-defense, manslaughter. I mean, I knew a guy in college, a standout athlete, got charged with the murder. It was a bar fight. That charge would have changed the terrain of his whole life.
Mm.
Had there not been a jury that really critically looked at the circumstances to make sure all witnesses came forward and they vetted all the facts. Now that individual today, okay, is actually a successful businessman.
Nice.
And my point is this: the juvenile justice system is, and the court system is so important that we critically look at every case individually, and you don't blanketly charge individuals for certain crimes, and everybody gets due process. Because there are a lot of individuals out there, right? We've all heard of the Innocent Project, where we hear stories. We've heard a local story where an individual was wrongly charged with the crime and then vindicated later. Now look at individuals like that; their lives are changed forever. And I'm not an attorney, and I don't claim to be an attorney, but that's why the investigative steps for police officers. I worked homicide. I supervise a homicide unit. You have to be very careful, even with detectives, that you don't go off the beaten path and you stay focused on the facts, and you don't let personal biases and opinions kind of overshadow the facts of a case, because you could take someone's liberty, when you make an arrest. So that's my opinion. Love to talk in depth, and maybe get another individual on here, an attorney, that we can kind of talk the law enforcement side and the legal side of cases, because those are important things that we should talk about as a community.
Man, I appreciate that answer. And I always say, courts handle things on a case-by-case basis for a reason. So yeah, I definitely appreciate the answer and the question. Thanks, Ms. Erica.
Yeah, and thank you, Brother Gonzalez, for coming on this morning. We're gonna let you go and get on about your campaign day. I'm glad you came on to remind us to vote tomorrow, and
Yes, sir.
and that you're running the race. And I already went in. I handled my business, so you got mine. So.
Well, I appreciate that. We need our communities to vote. Really love to have everybody's support. And I will tell you, I have a Google number. I just want to throw this out there.
Okay.
If you can put it on the chat line, if they want to call me for any personal questions, if they're on that fence, I'd love to be able to sway it to my side. So that Google number is 307 622 4734. And that goes right to my personal cell phone. I mean, I'm going to head to another meeting right now, but I'll be around all day. If I don't answer, please call me back. I'd love to earn your vote. So.
Right on, bro. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you putting that number out too. Thank you. You have good luck on the campaign.
Appreciate you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Peace.
All right, that's what's up. Greg Gonzalez coming in, giving some last minute words and some more positions. I appreciate that very much. Let's take a quick break and we'll come right back and discuss that a little bit and then jump into our next guest that'll be up here pretty soon. So stay tuned. Once again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
I'll be Buddy the God. All of you, stay tuned. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
I'll be Buddy the God. All of you chat chimers, all of you ghost listeners, thanks for joining us. Thanks for jumping in the chat and having so much to say and having a great conversation today. That was a Buddy's joint. That's my favorite joint right now, man. That's a bomb. It's a bomb. Welcome back. We are the new NWA. That is News Gang with Attitude. And
Man, I love it.
Yeah, that's a bad jam, right, Josh? He's cruising with that one. That's what's up.
Hey.
Yep. 7:42 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, and we have a special guest waiting in the wings. We're going to bring him in right now, ladies and gentlemen. Deshaun Cunningham, what's going on, man? Activist. What else do you do, man? Activist, journalist, now documenter. You're a man of many talents. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. How are y'all doing? It's good to see you and see y'all.
Yeah. Man, welcome back. Welcome back. I know you had left Omaha for a little while, and you were out in Cali.
Yeah, I was out in LA for the last 4 years.
Wow. Okay, yeah, it was 4 years.
Yeah, it's been that long.
Sheesh, because you were active during Freedom Summer and stuff. You were out here, right?
I did. I flew back when everything started popping off with the George Floyd events and Derek Chauvin. And, that's kind of why we're getting into what we're going to be talking about today is, there's just been, even though I've been gone, I've still done a lot of work in the background because, Omaha is so transient and people come and go. Like, you're in Atlanta now, buddy.
Yes, sir.
So, Omaha is a place that has a hard time retaining young people, retaining talented people, because there's just not a lot of outlets for people to have opportunities in Omaha. But that said, I do think Omaha has changed a lot since the 4 years I've been gone. And a lot of people are really ready to take it to that next level of a city. We want to be something more like a Denver as opposed to always being like a big Lincoln or something. So, that doesn't just come down to activities and economics. That also comes down to like our political sense and abilities here.
I like that. Omaha, the big Lincoln.
Actually, Lincoln is a little further ahead than Omaha in some things. When you look at kind of their climate plan, their affordable housing plan, like Lincoln, does some good things. But I definitely agree. I do see that. So is that why you moved back to Omaha? And definitely want to talk about, the documenters program that you're a part of.
Excuse me. One of the main reasons I moved back is I've been working on a book for the last 2 years, and it's getting ready to be sent off to publishers and things like that. So the book itself is about a lot of the police work I've done and the things we were able to accomplish back in the day, where the movement for police reform is going, takes on things we've done, successes, mistakes. There's a lot that can go into that. So with the book, the last 2 years since the Freedom Summer events, I've been coming back and working on ways to revamp the police oversight board in Omaha. It's called the CCRB. There was a lot of things that I had insisted on when I first made the proposal 11 years ago, when we didn't have a police review board. And what kind of things can we make that board have now to give it more power, to create a greater sense of accountability, and not only that, bring consequences to officers that do wrong on the job and do wrong to people.
Yeah, we like hearing that for sure.
Yeah.
That's what's
It's kind of interesting though. We just had Greg Gonzalez on, you probably heard, who's running for Douglas County Sheriff. And he did mention, and what I kind of took away from this qualified immunity answer was, it seemed like he supported qualified immunity, but it did seem like things like a citizen review board he would, call for. And, you have things like the Brady Giglio list that's now being pushed. So you're talking about the timing. Can you kind of speak to that as far as all of those things coming together, the possibility of a board with actual teeth coming to fruition, and kind of how the Documenters program plays into that as well?
Yeah. And I didn't get a chance to listen to the interview with Greg, so I'll have to go back and listen to it. But as far as the topic of qualified immunity, one of the things that I'm launching today, and the link to it will be live after I get done with you guys on the show.
Nice.
But we're doing a community survey of citizens of Omaha and the police. And what that means is, I'm an organizer. I've definitely got my own ideas, but just because I have an idea of something that I think might be good or work doesn't mean the people that live here maybe think it's the best idea. So rather than just run out into the street trying to save everybody, what's the most powerful thing? Information. So what I'm attempting to do is have a community survey, and it talks about things like officer discipline. Do you feel they're appropriately disciplined when they mess up in Omaha? One of the things we talk about is a question of qualified immunity. Should it exist for police officers? Because it is often used as a way they can explain away any excessive force, any unprofessionalism, any wrongdoing. And that's a powerful tool that is abused when it comes to policing, and why officers are often able to avoid consequence. And if you're looking at, how do you govern a city? How do you make sure people are treated fairly? If one group of employees can always get away, like the example I always use was like the library doesn't kill people, or have the ability to kill people and get away with it. People from city planning don't have the ability to assault somebody and explain it away as part of their job duty. So when we talk about qualified immunity, we really need to focus on when is it being abused, and what are the legal steps we can take to end it. Because it's not just a matter of, we're just going to end it as a policy. There's contracts that would have to be changed. There's union. We always hear about how the union has a stranglehold on everything when it comes to policing. And those contracts only come up for review, I want to say maybe every 10 years. So, we have a big amount of time before the next time we could even affect something like that. But we need to get that idea out there now so people realize what it is we're talking about. And when we go to make our proposals for change, we have the public informed and ready to operate and mobilize around a plan that is legally sound and effective at curbing the abuses from problematic officers.
It's definitely needed, man. I'm sitting here right now thinking about what Greg Gonzalez was talking about, and also other law enforcement people that I've talked to, they definitely feel that there's laws in place, and they really hang on the Chauvin case to say that a lot. Like to me, it's kind of two different things almost, because the qualified immunity is something that happens way more than any police officer getting prosecuted like Chauvin was. Not number one. Number two, yeah, there might be some laws in place, but really, I'm just thinking, like, how many times has somebody died in police custody even just this last month? There's already 3 or 4 cases that I know of that have to go. Where does it go? I forgot. Grand jury or something's got to
Grand
go.
jury, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, they got to look at 4 cases like just this month of like officer related deaths. So these things happen at the same time. Law enforcement is a different entity, and they are here. They're supposed to be protecting people and so on and so forth. So I can understand why they came up, like Greg Gonzalez says, if they come up, and if it's for them to protect them if they made actions in good faith. But we all know, especially in our community, how many times is that used for something other than good faith measures. So definitely something to look at. He also said that he was behind Terrell McKinney's bill. Do you know much about Terrell McKinney's thing that he's trying to push right now with what is that list, buddy?
The Brady list, the Brady Giglia list.
Yeah, I've actually spoke with members of his staff, I want to say last week, and we just haven't had a chance to connect person to person yet. But I'm very aware of his bill and definitely support it, and looking at having our efforts be in tandem, because while my efforts focus more on what we can do as a city, Senator McKinney's bill will be more for the state of Nebraska. Because when you look at what we have, Omaha's the biggest city in the state by far. So the state of Nebraska classifies us as a metropolitan type city. So we, have problems that other cities in Nebraska don't have. But okay, there was an incident a number of years ago in Cass County, Plattsmouth, where a white officer shot and killed a white citizen. Where's their review board in Plattsmouth? So the way it works now is that family could appeal to the attorney general. And, in Nebraska, we're a Republican majority state. So maybe the attorney general is friendly with the police departments. So in Omaha, yeah, we do have a group that will review things independently. It does need a lot of improvement, but we still have it. But for the rest of the state, or you could look at it in a place like Grand Island, where there's maybe not a large Black population, but they have a large Hispanic population, a large migrant population. How do the officers treat those minority groups out there? I'm sure if we were to look at the numbers, like if you see in Omaha, like where there's disparate minority arrests and enforcement, you would see the same thing in a place like Grand Island with a different minority group just being that primary example to bear the brunt of the enforcement. So we need statewide mechanisms to review police actions. And, when I started my group back in the day, FTP, Buddy, you were there for a lot of that stuff. There wasn't a lot of people. It was maybe the same 5-10 people every day, and part of the reason why is because this is dangerous. A lot of people feel retaliated against. It's very easy to get burnt out, feeling like nothing changes. But now the culture of the country has changed where, maybe if the idea of where we were saying, oh, we want police reform, we want police oversight, people, even the mayor, I was reading some old articles where she said, and some emails she had sent to me, I completely disagree with you and what you're trying to do. Yet last week when I went to her town hall, the first thing out of her mouth is, we've cleaned up the police department so much. We've had use of force incidents drop. Oh, but now you're for it. So that's what I'm saying. It's like the culture has changed where we may have been painted as radical, but now these efforts are rational. The city has to spend out money for lawsuits, for trials, things like that. There's the image, reputation. If Omaha is not seen as a safe city for minorities, word like that word will get out. We compete against other cities in our region. We compete against other cities nationally for people, money, all these things. There's a reason why places like where I lived in LA get all the money and attention, because they put slightly more effort into maintaining their population, listening and acting out in the benefit for everyone. Now, is it perfect in LA either? No, but nothing is. So it's a constant refining process of getting closer to where it is we actually want to be.
That's what's up. If you believe in the concept of time, it's 7:55 right now. 5 more minutes until the second hour for Sky Omaha. We're sitting here with Deshaun Cunningham, who is been doing a lot of work. It's interesting what you're saying. You being back in town right now seems like perfect timing.
Yeah.
Based on what you're talking about as far as the climate is concerned, you guys were considered radical before. Now it's not so radical. Even Stothard has the chime up. So you're back and you're writing a book, and you're also helping with efforts on review boards with police. Do you have a little bit of background that you can give us on why you're so passionate about the relationship between citizens and police? What brought you to this?
Yeah. Just to get real personal for a second, growing up, I was the victim of extreme child abuse, physical, sexual, all types of things like that. So there was a couple incidents growing up. Mom's getting beat, we're getting beat, choked out, locked up, whatever, molested. Who do we call? The police. So I have, and not only that, I have family, a number of relatives that are also police officers, not in Omaha, but I do believe in what policing can be. What it is now is not what we should have. So, in my mind, what purpose should the police serve? We're always going to have a problem with murderers, rapists, violent people, things of that nature. So we do need people that can respond to incidents of violence, something like, domestic violence, shootings. The average person is not equipped to just roll up and disarm a shooter. The average person is not going to roll up and disrupt a gang or do type of intervention with the community work like that. So there should be a police force. Should it be as big as it is? Should it have as much power and impunity as it does? No. So there was, going back to where I was 10 years ago, Omaha only used to have about 850 officers. Now they're around 906. In the past, Mayor Stothard has called for having 1,000 police officers. And what we've seen in the last, we saw it in Omaha before Freedom Summer, but especially after that, you've seen departments where they don't even have enough people applying to be police officers. So the perception of what a police officer should be is changing in people's minds. And we're in this stage where we can mold it to something that's more fair in how it operates, that's more transparent in how it delivers information regarding excessive force incidents or unprofessional or criminal activities by police to the citizens, because ultimately those people work for us. Todd Schmaderer is everyone's employee.
Right.
Aaron Hansen's everyone's employee. When Greg was working for he was our employee. Those people work for us, not the other way around. So if I'm paying your good salary, you're going to do your job the best way you can do it. And if not, that is not going to be your job. So why I'm so passionate about it is because we pay for this service. And how often does it not operate well? If the city was like Verizon, oh, hey, I have a problem. The phone keeps blowing up in my face. Oh, well, we don't really feel like answering it by click. You can't afford to do that. So while we have more people focused on police issues, we have to turn that momentum into, I always say, official and like unofficial. Official is stuff like review boards, changing laws, electing politicians, things of that nature. That's a big part of it. But what I always tell people is to err maybe 51% on the unofficial stuff. What is the biggest thing that changed in Omaha? We didn't have a review board. We didn't have cameras for a while. But what happened when there was an incident where a civilian did film an officer? I used to do that for years, just drive around, pull up on cops, film them, wait off on the side. If I see them sitting on break, park somewhere, I'd pull over, just park, videotape them, see what they're doing. That's what we need to do.
Gangster.
Everybody need, for real, but everybody needs to think like that, because if we don't get it officially, we're going to get it unofficially.
Right.
You know, and there was times after, you know, the video came out, FTP started going, I would go to pull up on an officer, have somebody pulled over. There'd be 3-4 people already stopped filming. So we need to keep that mindset up of, even if you're not going to give it to us, even if you're not going to be watched independently, you do need to be watched independently. If you know, what's that slogan they always say? If you see something, say something. Apply that to the police. If you see an officer stop somebody, maybe stop and see what they're doing. Maybe see if, you know, the person calls out for help, or, you know, there's something you notice that's not right. Let that officer see you. It's legal to film it. But we have to have them. And this is one of the things that I'm working on with the review board, is because right now you could have an incident, it's recorded, somebody will go back and watch that. But what is the biggest thing to fix problem behavior? Every other job in the world, you're on camera. Every other job in the world, somebody's watching over you. We have the ability with the technology now to monitor the police in real time. And why is that a good thing? Certain incidents I've been involved in the past, you might have an officer that's using the N-word with his partner. You know, nobody's there to catch that conversation. You might have somebody saying some sexist comments, like former officer Colleen Hinchy, the blue snitch, was saying. So there's times where if officers know they're being watched, just like everyone else is on their job, just like us, maybe we won't act up at work.
Right.
And again, you know, 10 years ago, that was a radical idea. After Freedom Summer, when I came back and started having meetings with the city, OPD is for it. I've spoken with members of the city legal department about any obstacles they would see into having the police be reviewed in real time. But I feel like that's a big step we could take to correct the culture in the department. Another thing that I want to see have happen is more cooperation between, maybe cooperation is not the best word, more resource sharing between the police department and the review board. And this example with this stolen video is a perfect example. When I spoke with Schmaderer last week about that video coming out.
And you're talking about the one with Aaron Hansen?
Yes, the one with Aaron Hansen. He said, in his mind, it paints the picture of a department that's out of control, that people can just take whatever. But then on the other hand, you can say, well, why do officers feel the need to steal materials and make them public? Now, that would be a perfect example of why we need more resource sharing between the board, because again, we pay for their salaries, we pay for that video footage, we pay for this video storage. Why are we not allowed to see it? Early last year, I think was the incident with Kenneth Jones when he was shot and killed by OPD. There was efforts here to get that video released, and I actually flew back from LA, and I had told some people, you know, I'm gonna get that video out. And I met with Schmaderer, met with the mayor's office. We had a joint meeting, and I made the argument, like I just said, we pay for that. That is ours. That is public material. Yeah, there are a few steps that have to be taken if it's like an active investigation where either the county attorney can release footage or the police department can, and they have at different points. And not only that, they've also released things that make them not look the best, even if it is an ongoing investigation. So if they can pick and choose when they want to release it, and if it may or may not sway any potential jury, what's the difference from having that information made public from the get-go? If it's going to come out anyways, and the county attorney and the police department can release it, again, you two work for us. We want it released. Mm-hmm. So that was the argument I made, and then the next day the video came out. So what I would like to see have happen more in the future is if officers know it's harder to conceal when they maybe abuse force. In the case of Kenneth Jones, it was ruled justified. I completely disagree with that decision. Mm-hmm. But we have to know these things in real time, because if there's a lag, he was killed in January, February of 21. Oh, well, we'll release it a year later. The momentum's gone. The ability to organize around it's gone.
Yeah.
People's attention span is passed to the next thing. And we just think, oh, well, maybe there's no problem. Acknowledging a problem is not a problem. That's the first step to fixing it. So in my mind, if people like whoever released that video or Blue Snitch have to come out and say these things, who's lying? Who's telling the truth? Because on one hand, with Todd, I've had a working relationship with him for about 10 years now. I have seen times where he has come through and done what he said and made changes. I think the biggest thing is the murder clearance rate. When he came in, we only solved 36% of our murders. Now we solve over 80%. So that's a benefit. That's something the police department should do. But then something he's done that I completely disagree with, endorsing candidates. The police chief should not be making political endorsements because it taints the perception. Oh, well, is the police all Republican now? Are they going to look out for me if I'm a Democrat? Flip side in LA. Oh, are the police only going to help me out if I'm a liberal Democrat? It can't be like, again, what other departments make political endorsements?
Well, all of them are now. It seems like, and it shouldn't be. Like, to your point.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point. We are tight on time. I didn't want to get into the documentaries program, your involvement in that, and kind of talk about oversight.
I actually wanted to jump away from that real quick. Because we've had on Abby Kretz, who's talked about documentaries. We know that you were one. I wanted you to actually come back and talk about documentaries. Mm-hmm. And the reason why, buddy, I'm sorry, I just wanted to jump in here because the what you just told us about your personal situation stuff was so powerful. I don't want to gloss over the power of that. You shared some very deep stuff here with us and with our chat. And first of all, we really appreciate that, but it really brings us some insight, because you blew my mind when you said it's because you believe in police and you want police to do better. A lot of times we're talking to police activists that want to abolish police or like me, I feel like I have a whole problem with the idea of policing in general. But you brought a different perspective on how it is that we need. You actually kind of made me change my mind about whether or not I want to continue to keep saying there's sometimes we don't need police. Anyway, don't want to get too far into that, but I really just wanted to acknowledge and appreciate you sharing your story and you giving me a different perspective on why it is that we need to have police reform. It's not just because they got a bunch of evil people out there, but it's because you're right. In certain circumstances, we need police. And so with this last moment that we have you on here, I just wanted to acknowledge that and say, let's switch gears for a minute. I would usually ask people where you find the best wings, but I want to ask you a quick question about the flags that you have behind your head right now. I know a little bit about it, but I just wanted you to be able to express that personally something else about you that is not your pain, but also something that you praise and glory. And I really appreciate the fact that our first sky symbol is over the lotus here, and I'll tell you about why later. But tell us about the flags behind you real quick, if you would.
You know what? They're actually my roommates.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, but so yeah, I
Yeah.
could explain it, but I'd probably be way off.
Well,
But,
yeah. I more so just want to hear something about you, about something that you believe in, and how you feel, and something, another piece of a personal fact about
Mhm.
you that it is encouraging to people.
Another thing, why I was out in LA, what I was doing that, a lot of people have kind of come to more associate me with is diving.
Ah,
So,
Yeah.
I've
I didn't
worked,
know that you're a
oh,
diver.
oh yeah, I've worked in the ocean. I always used to, when I was out there, I'd point at the ocean, and be like, oh, there's my office. Like, but, but I learned to get certified as a scuba diver here in Nebraska. So
Wow.
that's one thing I kind of want to also start to kind of bring back here is the idea of, oh, there's things to see underwater here. I used to go to Louisville Lake and dive out there. A lot of people go to that lake, but most people don't know you can go out there and swim and it looks like you're flying over a forest.
Wow.
At one point, the fish were so not used to people that like some little mermaid fish tornado, I could feed them out of my hand.
Wow.
So that's one thing I want to get into sharing more with people here now that I'm back is, exploring our waters, for the recreation value, definitely, but also from an environmental standpoint. I don't think people here think of our lakes and rivers as much of a public resource as they could be. So that's something that I'm looking at, and especially among the Black community, because the stereotype is we don't swim. So but that's one thing I want to get taught to people is, I got burnt out on Omaha. I had to get out of here. Something that I thought was a hobby, that became my career. So that's one. I've been talking with a lot of people lately about getting your skills up, just as a person as you get older. And, like that slogan for Nebraska says, it's not for everybody. Omaha's my home too, but I had to get a break from here. But, how do we get our skills up as a people so that we can, kind of like how migrant people do it. Somebody comes and works, sends money home. That's how they build a community. So I think that's something that we can look at doing in Omaha is, getting people skills up and sending them out to places like LA, New York, Atlanta, where we can have hubs for this stuff in Omaha, but then, so that'll benefit us here at home. But then, we can send people out too. And then if they want to come back someday, cool. If not, stay gone. But, reach back and keep these efforts we got here going on.
Bro, yeah, that's first Sky Omaha motto right there. You speaking our language, we love it.
Man.
Gotta let you go, bro. I really appreciate hearing that about you. We'll definitely have you back and for a longer time to be able to speak on some stuff that you're doing. And
yeah, definitely. And real quick before I go, I'll share that link on the First Sky page of the surveys because we're going to start sending those out and getting responses back. So those surveys will inform the legislative bills and the review board changes here in Omaha. So that's all I got. Thanks for having me.
I will also say, I know we talked to Abby about the Documenters program starting, but with Deshaun, it's going. So I do want to point people to the Documenters, website. There's actual now, reports that you can go look at actual products from the Documenters program working. So I would definitely love to talk to you more and bring you back, but appreciate you.
Oh, definitely. You guys too.
Ladies and gentlemen, Deshaun Cunningham, deep diver into all things. Appreciate you, man. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Peace. Oh, man. What a great interview.
Nice.
Love it.
I'm glad you asked that question.
Yeah, man. I just was feeling like, man, I don't want to leave, you know what I'm saying? Like he shared some deep stuff. I didn't want to just leave off on the negative of his life, but the positive too, because, he's a deep dude. And like Wanda Lewis said right here, man, she was like, he is not only a deep sea diver, he dives into everything he does. Real talk. That's what's up. So appreciate him. We'll definitely have him back. Rome's Review says, "Thank you for sharing, sir. May the world find you many blessings." That's how we feeling about it as well. Linda in Chicago says, "Great insights. Thank you, Wanda Lewis, for co-signing. Appreciate that very much. Let's definitely check into the Documenters program. I'm very happy that he's a part of that. I already like Abby Kretz, so to know that Deshaun Cunningham is a part of it too, man. And that it's the readers behind it, John Heaston's behind it. Like, this is gonna be a great program, and we're glad we're behind it too. And we're also behind on time. So even though we don't really believe in the concept, 8:15 right now. We've had a guest waiting in the wings very patiently. Thank you so much, Bree Full. Thank you so much for joining us. So good to see you again. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm so good. Listen, I am so excited and
Nice.
happy for election day tomorrow. Like, I just have so much energy. So I'm excited to talk to you all today.
No, that's actually quite interesting because usually when we kind of interview candidates right before election day, they're you can see the campaign just on them, like, oh man, tomorrow's the day. I'm glad. But I'm definitely, it's nice, it's refreshing to see your energy and excitement. How do you feel? Like, how do you feel the campaign trail is gone?
This has been one of the hardest things I've ever done in my entire life, but it is the experience of a lifetime. And I'm so happy that I did it, because the experience that I've gotten, the people that I've been able to talk to, the stories that I've heard are just entirely life-changing for me. And, no matter the outcome of this election, what I'm going to take away from this campaign, I got to hear about the issues of the people who live in Sub-District 2 and what they want and what they need for their children when they go to school. And so, it has been an exhausting process. I have worked myself to the bone. I actually messed up my foot this weekend walking so much, knocking doors, but thank goodness I have awesome volunteers to knock doors and drop lit for me for these last 2 days, because I can't do it anymore. So my body is physically exhausted, but my mind and my spirit is so excited and happy to, hopefully continue doing this work after election day, and hopefully we'll be celebrating on Tuesday night.
Man, it's a beautiful thing. Speaking of that, don't you have an event coming up after? Is that Tuesday night?
Yep. So Tuesday at the Culture House from 7 to 10, we're going to be, like I said, hopefully celebrating, but it'll be an election night party. There will be live music. My band is actually playing. I will not be singing though, because I can only take.
Hold on. Wait. We talking to a couple musicians. You can't just throw that in there. This ain't the first time we had you on here.
Yeah. I started. I didn't start it. My friend started the band. His name is Michael Griffin. He's also a comedian. I don't know if you're familiar with his name. He plays the keys in the band, and so we started all playing together maybe like 3 months ago, and things have been going really well. It's been a great stress reliever for all this stuff that happens with my campaign. It's like we have practices on Sunday nights. We go play some music. I sing. I get my stress out, and it's been really good. But yeah, anyway, so they're going to be playing on Tuesday. I don't know if you're familiar with Kafele. He plays the trumpet, so he'll be there. He's in the band as well. So there'll probably be some people that you know. It's going to be super fun. And it's just going to be a party. Like, I'm ready to celebrate all the people who have contributed to my campaign this far. Like I said, no matter the outcome, it's going to be a celebration. It's going to be a party because of all the hard work that we have put into this. So it's going to be a blast.
Tomorrow it's going to be all about hanging out at the Culture House, like all day and night. Sounds like so.
Going down.
It's going down
at the Culture House. Can we speak about the race a little bit, or I guess more so of the issues? We know that your race, your position, just education in general has kind of been a more hot topic this election cycle than usual. Kind of what's jumping out to you as far as the issues, and when you do win, let's speak it into existence. What are some of the things that you're looking forward to tackling?
Well, knocking on doors recently, the number one thing I've actually heard about is safety. So parents don't feel completely comfortable sending their kids off to school anymore because a lot of kids are bringing weapons, they're bringing knives, they're bringing guns even sometimes. I know I've knocked on several parents' doors of kids who go to Lewis and Clark Middle, and it's just like seems to be chaos there in regards to kids bringing stuff that they're not supposed to bring to school. And so I'm really interested in taking a deeper look at school safety and measures that we can put in place to make sure that our kids feel safe going to school and that our parents feel safe sending their kids to school. It is a fine line that you have to toe, though, because we don't want to militarize our schools or make them feel like a prison where, you go in and you have to go through the metal detector and you get the metal wand, and like that's an uncomfortable experience. But so I'm just trying to find better, unique, fresh ideas about how we can address safety at schools and make sure that our kids don't feel like they're stuck in a box or stuck in a prison when they go to school. So that's the number one thing I've been hearing about lately. Also, the other one, when I knock on teachers' doors and staff members' doors of OPS, it's like the staffing shortage. We got to get that under control. I think that has been established that it's a problem. OPS has tried to address it as best as they can, and they did have some really good ideas, and were able to pass some good measures in order to recruit more teachers. But I think it's also a problem of how do we retain the teachers that are already in OPS? And not only the teachers, but the staff members too, the counselors, the lunch ladies, the janitors. How do we keep all of those people on board? Also, the bus drivers. That's a huge one I've been hearing about as well. We don't have enough bus drivers. It's just plain and simple. We don't have enough drivers to get our kids to school. So, I mean, there are plenty of issues. I really have my work cut out for me, but I'm ready to do it. And I know that I can make change when I get to the school board because I have all of these amazing community members by my side. Like, I wouldn't be able to do it without them. And so, yeah, I'm just really excited to get in there and make some change. I legitimately would not have run for this position if I didn't think that I could get in there and make some change. So that is my whole thing, and hopefully Tuesday will look good for me, and we can start doing the things that we need to do to make our schools better, safer, and healthier.
There you go. Erica Felt got a good suggestion already. I think for many parents, our frustration is with school principals and administrators' response to events that led up to violence. I
Right.
definitely think that you have a long road ahead on trying to figure out some strategies, and don't hesitate to look at other schools, private schools, other places where there's not that violence and what it is that they're doing so differently. And also, like where Buddy's at, Atlanta. We make a Omaha Atlanta connection all the time, and Atlanta is a very big gun city, and so they are there's all kinds of strategies that they implement in order to work for safety as well. So looking somewhere else, kind of a solutions idea. Is a question in the chat by Wanda Lewis. What do you think about OPD's resource officers in the schools? Should they use other sources?
Hmm. So personally, I've thought long and hard about this because my background as a Black Lives Matter activist, in truth, really turned me off to law enforcement and the things that they do in our community. And so I've had to think really long and hard about my position on this and resource officers in the schools. And I have decided that they are needed. However, the way that they're being used right now currently may not be the best or the most conductive way to keep our schools safe, because we see these instances where sometimes a resource officer will have to step in and they'll start pepper spraying kids and they escalate the situation. And it's just not, it's just, when you watch it, it's like, obviously there's something wrong. Obviously they're not doing something right. But I believe that they should still be in schools, and we still should have security guards as well in order to protect our children from outside forces. So
Hmm.
I literally asked Todd Smarter, I think it was earlier this spring, like April or something, when he had a forum at the Fabric Lab. I asked him, what are the role of school resource officers? And he said to protect the kids and the teachers and the staff members from outside harm. And so that's what I think they should be doing. I don't think they should be doing harm to the students inside the school, but I do think they should be there for safety protections for outside measures.
Wow, I didn't think about it like that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's
Go ahead.
I like that. I like that. No, I like that. I mean, I have some personal experiences. I've been pepper sprayed just, watching a fight and getting, I mean, you can't, you spray and there's some wind. Everybody's getting a piece of that pepper spray, even the kids not in the fight. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I have seen incidents where, riots and gang members and, actors from outside the school have come in. So, that's an interesting take. I appreciate that.
Of course.
We're gonna have to talk with you again. We're running late on time, and we just try to pack too much in today, and that's because of the election tomorrow. So, so I definitely want to hear I know that you wanted to come on and give an appeal to people because we are speaking to a lot of like-minded people already, and they are here, and they usually agree. Most of us agree with a lot of the things that we talk about as far as solutions is concerned, but that doesn't necessarily translate to people actually getting in motion and going down and doing the vote. So what I've been asking people to do that's come on here of like mind is to say, give us your appeal. What is how is it? What is it that you are saying to people who agree with you, but still need to be motivated to go? What is it that you usually tell them?
Well, like I said before, I wouldn't have run for this position if I didn't think I was going to go in there and actually start making some change. But the truth is, the incumbent in that seat has been there for 10 years. People have voted for him 3 times now, over 3 election cycles. And he usually wins by far. And so I really need people to come out, show out, and vote for me because we need that change. Unfortunately, the person who's in the seat right now leads the school boards in tardies and absences, arrives late to almost every single school board meeting, misses votes. And so it's really important that we get someone in there who's going to properly represent Subdistrict 2. Subdistrict 2 is primarily Black students and minority students, and we need a really good representative in that seat in order to advocate for them. And that's exactly what I do. I'm going to be loud and proud about my stances. I want to make sure that our side of the story gets heard in order to make those changes that we need to see in OPS. So that's my appeal to the voters is if you're not satisfied with the status quo, you have to come out and you have to vote for Briefle for OPS.
Love that. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming on and giving us that last appeal here. It's always good to have you on the show and to see you doing the good work. I'm excited about you getting in there and, like you said, exerting that vigorous youth in the seat in that area for our kids in our area. That's really encouraging to hear that somebody wants to come in there and really push that. Before you get out of here, Ms. Erica Fell says, what desired change initially motivated you to run? So I know that you got a lot of issues that you come up with because of knocking doors and researching and so on. But when you first got that gleam in your eye about running, did you reach back to something that happened to you in school? Did you how personal? What kind of personal thing inspires you to run in the first place?
Well, I got my undergraduate degree in public health, and in public health they teach you a lot about how the root of the issue and the root of the problem and how to fix those things. And so when you look at poverty, a lot of the people who are living in poverty didn't have access to high quality education. And so I think education is one of the fundamental ways that we can actually help our society and lift people out of poverty. And so it's just back to that, that's the root issue of the problem. We have to make sure that our Black and brown kids have the same learning outcomes as their white counterparts. They are far behind our Black and brown students, unfortunately, than their white counterparts when it comes to reading and math and science and all those things. So I it was really my education that brought me back to, my reasons as why I wanted to run for the school board. But
Cool.
yeah. Mhm.
Well, right on. I'm glad the education worked for you, and that you find it your mission to help it work for other people. So that's what's up. Stacy
Definitely.
Jean says she voted for you, so you already got one vote, early vote there. Yeah,
Thank you.
Mark Manners says he wants to see Mayor full.
All
All right.
right.
Oh,
All right.
okay. Give me a couple years. Let's get me to the school board first, and then we'll talk about that another time.
Oh, you know what? That
Okay.
that,
Okay.
remi- that, re- that reminds me of something that I wanted to ask you too. Because I just heard this the other day. A lot of people think that the school board position is like a stepping stone to politics in the future. I
Mhm.
don't get that impression with you, but I need to ask you about that. Do you have aspirations for the future as far as politically is concerned?
I think if there is a need, like there was a need for this position for someone good to come in and start advocating for the necessary changes, if there is a need, I would absolutely love to step up for my community. But if there isn't, it's like, then no. If the person in the seat is doing well and is properly representing our community, then there's no need. But if there is a need, you know, I would hope that I would be there and I would be a leader to step up for the community and advocate for them.
Well, I think we need a new mayor, so there's a
Ew,
need. There's a need there.
I couldn't agree more, but don't tell Jean I said that.
She don't watch us. She don't watch.
Yeah,
Us.
she-
Hey, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate you getting
Of
up this morning
course.
early with us.
I hope you have a great rest of your day, and please come to my election night party tomorrow at Culture House from 7 to 10. And we're also taking donations for OPS Secondary Success Program. They put together Thanksgiving baskets for their students and their families. So if you bring a turkey, ham, pie, or bag of dinner rolls, then you get a free Full for OPS t-shirt.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice. Man.
What's up?
There you go. There
It
you
is
go. Man, I
turkey
appreciate you.
season.
It is. It is. 'Tis the season, Paul. Get them plates. Get them plates.
Green beans, tomatoes, potatoes, you name it. Going
Yeah.
down. I
Going
appreciate
down.
Yep, it's going down. We'll see you at the party.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow.
Good luck.
Peace.
Bye,
Peace, peace,
everyone.
peace. Haha, Brianna Fool for mayor. That's what we're gonna say next.
The mayor.
We're gonna jump right into our next guest. It is 8:32 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, another guest waiting in the wings. It is Guest Monday today, for real, for real.
Yeah.
And don't forget, we do have tomorrow. We got a special show that we're going to be doing on Tuesday. Special election editions show tomorrow at 7 o'clock, featuring Michelle Troxclair. So definitely hit us up before you get out and do your thing tomorrow. It's going to be an abbreviated show, but we wanted to make sure that we got up and got in there on Tuesday, election day, which is tomorrow. And Michelle Troxclair's got some things to say. She got a soapbox she wants to get on tomorrow as well. So can't wait to talk to her. But in the meantime, between time, we're gonna go ahead and bring our next guest in, Miss Natalia Alamdari from Flatwater Free Press. So good to see you again. How are you this morning?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing all
Not
right.
too bad. Not too bad. we're still on the air, so that's Elon Musk didn't buy Facebook, so we're still here. We're not paying the $8 over there, by the way. So yeah, but for the most part, doing pretty well and excited about what's going on tomorrow, as I'm sure everyone around is, because hopefully we've generated the excitement for the day. But I love that we're having you on today too, because we haven't had anybody on for Flatwater for a while, and you guys got some doozy of some articles going on right now.
Yeah.
I mean, directly affect the stuff that we're talking about here, that we're trying to get people in seats to change, because you guys are going deep into the issues. So, first of all, how are you? How have you been? It's been a while since we've seen you. Have you been, in other countries again, or accosted by police, or anything going on with you interesting?
No, I've just been between Omaha and visiting family in Texas. I've had kind of a crazy October, but I'm back. I'm fully adjusted now to being back at work after being out for a couple things, and just like ready to write even more stories through the end of the year.
Love it, love it. That's what's up. Well,
Yeah.
we appreciate all the stories that you write for sure. So, Buddy, I know that you're kind of familiar with some of the things that that's been going on here. What's on top of your mind that you wanted to jump into here, or maybe we should leave it to Natalia. What's the thing you're excited about right now? One of you guys, let me
Well,
know what's happening.
I do have this Nebraska prison story that you have written up because in the midst of you traveling and doing the things, you were able to get some work done. So we do appreciate that. But before we get into that, is there anything else that you're excited about that you might be working on now that the story is out? Before we get into that.
Yeah, I'm trying to write a more uplifting prison story,
Okay.
which I'm still trying to figure out if the department will like let me, visit the facility. But I've been talking with a man who is, I can't remember how long his sentence is, but he is a peer support mentor at the youth facility. So there's a group of men who are at the youth facility who, just mentor the kids who are going through that piece of the system, really with this goal of, preventing them from ending up in Nebraska's adult system down the line. But that one's still pretty early stages. I'm figuring out if it'll be possible logistically. But it's an interesting one. And then non-Omaha, I'm going to write about this really cool art studio in McCook, Nebraska. Like I went there early on when I started at Flatwater, and it was the coolest place I've ever seen. So that'll be really fun to go back and write about that. But that's the plan so far for the rest of the year, at least, and then whatever else is thrown on my plate.
So you got one article you're doing for fun, another article that is an that sounds like an impossibility, a positive prison article. I like
It's like a little more nuanced than positive, like it's all complicated, but it's at least like, here's an interesting thing that's happening, like a interesting support structure that people have come up with.
No, nice. I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more about that. So it's like prison's kind of your beat, or is that just kind of what's been coming on your desk?
It's like sort of the beat, but I'm kind of changing things around heading into the new year, maybe with like a bigger focus on like rural Nebraska stories. But we also have a new reporter starting today. Sarah Gensler's first day is actually today. So she's going to focus on, state government, state agencies. So we'll still have someone looking at, departments like corrections.
Okay. Well, yeah, I definitely don't doubt that Flatwater is going to cover the news and doing the good work. We talked about recently the water story that you released. I don't think you were the journalist behind that story.
No, that was Yenchi, and I definitely don't know enough about it to tell you intelligent things. She's the expert on that. I am a lay person when it comes to that.
No, we actually talked about it, and she did a really good job in just reporting it. So, if you read the report, you'll definitely get a good education on it. I definitely urge people to read that. And I mean, you're doing the same with this story that you just wrote. So let's go ahead and dive into that in regards to inmates kind of growing older in prison and some of the complications and expenses that comes with that. Can you kind of expound on that and how this story kind of came to fruition?
Sure. And a quick warning, my cat has wandered into the room and might get noisy in a second.
Hey, that's great.
But so I have been working on this story about Nebraska's aging prison population. And this is really a national trend that prisons are seeing. But over the past 30 years or so, the number of prisoners over 60 has grown times 10 in Nebraska. It went from about 38 in 1992, I believe, to nearly 400 now. And that's going from maybe, 1.5% of the prison population. Now it's all the way up to 7% of the population, which that's one of the biggest fluctuations of all the age demographics too. So with that comes, the healthcare costs that come with aging, but multiplied by that 400 people you have. Since 2006, the medical spending in the prisons has more than doubled. It was about 19 million in 2006. The 2023 appropriation is about 49 million. And even then, honestly, the way accounting works in the department, I'm not even sure that that's a full picture of the number. That's just looking at the adult healthcare category of spending. But yeah, I spoke with people who are in the prisons now. I wrote letters and kind of heard about all of the different health conditions that they're dealing with. You know, people who are in their 70s, 80s, have cancer diagnoses, hepatitis, take like 6 or 7 medications a day. One thing that was interesting to me that I didn't even know existed was in some, I don't know if they're all the facilities, but there are prisoners who their job is to kind of be like a nursing aide for these aging prisoners. Like that's the point that it's gotten to, where they have to train other prisoners and pay them to be nursing assistants to help these men like with their daily lives.
Other prisoners are getting paid.
Like it's one of the jobs you can have in the prisons.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you said that. I was looking at that very paragraph as you said it, and that's very interesting. You says 53 prisoners across the system are now working in that position. Here in the article, it says porters help older prisoners in senior units get in and out of bed, brush their teeth, and eat their meals. So, like, they're real caregivers.
Yeah, and that's just like a slice of what they do. I think it's really just whatever's needed. But yeah, I was kind of shocked to find out that existed. I think a lot of prisons like nationwide are having to do that now.
That's crazy, man.
Is that something that is that something that the prisons like they're leaning into, or is that something that they're just using, for now until they get other like professional medical staff, or is that like a program that you feel like will stay?
Shoot, I can't remember what year they started it, because I think they told me how long they've had it. I mean, I don't think they're a replacement for like certain kind of medical professionals. I think that they really just assist in whatever ways are needed. It seems like something that has been around in prisons and probably will stick around. It's also the way it was described to me too. Like it's a job that people really take pride in too. So I don't know if it's a long-term thing.
Man, if you have any questions for her on this subject, then definitely put them in the chat. I'm kind of, my mind's kind of blown just thinking about just the subject of this, elderly people growing old. We often talk about Ed Poindexter, who should not be in jail in the first place. Absolutely growing old. As a matter of fact, the his partner there passed away in jail. So Mondo passed away in jail. So here's Ed Poindexter, and you can see he's aging in jail. And it's really incredible to think that all the things that you got to take care of and get yourself set for in order to grow old. It must be very stressful to think, how am I going to survive in jail this way, and then for them to have to get creative on how they're going to take care of people with other inmates and stuff like that. It's just really incredible to me. Rose Reviews in the chat real quick says, one of my best homeboy, Gary Bronzo, has been incarcerated 30 years, has become a model inmate at Tecumseh. He has painted artwork in the prison and hospital. He was allowed to take care of dogs. So interesting that they have all these jobs that taking care of each other type of thing. It's just blowing my mind, really.
Yeah, and you say inmates are paid, like this is actual job?
Yes, but it's not like the same wages you would get.
Prison labor is still prison labor. Like you got, workers out in Cali fighting fires for pennies. Like we definitely know that part. Yeah. But I'm glad you brought up Ed Poindexter, Paul, because I am curious. When you talk about recidivism and letting inmates out, the whole concern is the repeat offenders. But if somebody can't brush their own teeth, can't get themselves out of bed, the chances of them being a repeat offender are kind of slim. Is there any discussion? And I mean, I think we kind of already know the answer to this, but have you heard any discussion about changing policy or releasing older inmates?
Sure. So, geriatric parole is one of the ways that other states have tackled this, and it was talked about last session, both as its own bill and also part of the larger LB 920. I think the disagreement with that came from, okay, what is the age that the state is going to count as geriatric? How long should they have been in prison before they're eligible for something like that? Geriatric parole ended up because it was in 920, it didn't end up passing, so it's not a parole mechanism in Nebraska yet. The other option is medical parole, but the way that that's currently used in the state, it's extremely limited in the way that it's applied. Basically, prison doctors have to decide, okay, this person is terminally ill. I think the time frame is they have 6 months to live. Then the prison refers them to the parole board saying, hey, have a hearing for this person for medical parole. The parole board is the one that then gets to decide. And that's open to people of any ages. So it could be like someone in their 20s with cancer or something like that. I asked the parole board, how many medical parole hearings have you had? How many medical parole hearings have you granted it to the person? Since 2000, they've only had 3 medical parole hearings and they've granted 2. So that tells you about how usable of a mechanism that is.
Well, I think you taught us first. You got to ask them how many parole hearings have they made in the first place.
Right.
And they showed up to, first of all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's too bad. Terry Crawford says the ironic part is that they cannot work in the profession once released due to having a felony conviction, which is across the board. Talking about these prisoners that are working as caregivers.
Mm-hmm.
What a skill to develop, first of all, to care for the elderly, and then not be able to use that skill professionally later. Wanda Lewis says they still probably build a facility to house the sick and elderly as well as mental health facilities, separate those prisoners from the rest of the incarcerated instead of building another housing facility. Mama God says, speaking of prison health care, do you know of any updates on the new juvenile prison mental health facility located on 51st and Grand Avenue? The facility is right in my neighborhood. Just curious. I haven't heard anything about that, Mama God. I'm not sure. Natalia, do you know anything about that facility?
No, but I will add it to my list of things to keep tabs on.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Man, there's plenty of questions to ask out of this article, but I just want to urge people to read it. Just go ahead and read the article. It is available on flatwaterfreepress.org. Again, that's flatwaterfreepress.org. Waiting on death. Nebraska prisoners are getting older, and it's costing taxpayers.
Wow.
Yeah, man. We can continue to talk about this actually for quite a bit, but I just want to say it's very interesting. This whole the geriatric parole, and you take in consideration that Nebraska is the second most overpopulated, prison system in the country. That might be, a way to start approaching that is letting go of some of these older inmates, who aren't mobile, can't really, like I said, the chances of them repeating are slim.
Here's I'm gonna throw this in here real quick, and the reason why I think it's not going to work and not going to pass, and Nebraska won't allow it. We have too much of a parentalism going on. There's too much punishment, punitive reasons why people are in jail. They'll say you need to be in jail till you're dead, or they didn't spend enough time in jail. They use jail as a punishment, not a rehabilitation. And I don't think they'll ever. I don't think that the powers that be, unless there's new people in the seats, will ever let something like a geriatric release be the case. Those things have been out there for a while. They could have taken examples from other states years ago, and I just think the attitude about punitive, the attitude about punishment is in as opposed to rehabilitation is too strong in Nebraska for them to do that. And other reasons, but I just feel, I'm putting it out there that's might not be the thing. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong.
You might be right. I mean, looking at how the Ed Poindexter situation was handled, again, they were asking for his release, not on the merits of the case itself. Like they've kind of relegated themselves to just asking for release on just the fact that he's old. He's getting old, he's sick, and he, doesn't want to die in prison.
Yeah, he's sick, and that's what I mean. Like, when you're so mad at somebody, or you're trying to punish them, they want to die and make him die in prison. Then why would they let him out at the end so he can spend that time with his family and blah blah blah? The parentalism, the punitive nature of these things, just doesn't seem that way. In this article, Natalia, what I know that Buddy said there's many things to discuss here, but what is one of the things that really stood out to you, just on a personal level, with all the things that you witnessed?
Let me think. I think learning that there are like specific units for older people and people trained to take care of them. Like that was maybe one of the more like visceral things that stood out to me.
Same
and then
here.
kind of going off of what you were just saying, like talking about, punitive policies, tough on crime policies, and things like that in the state. It was just really interesting to me to see that balance of, that mentality of wanting to be tough on crime and put someone in prison for as long as the person thinks they deserve versus, the monetary expense that comes with that as the person serves that long sentence. Like it's just, I don't know, like think having that public safety in mind, but also the taxpayer impact are two kind of clashing thoughts, I think. And that was something that jumped out at me as I was reporting on this.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never would have thought of it in that way. Like, taxpayers are paying for these people to just to not, to lay up in bed. Rose Reviews in the chat, from YouTube. He's over there saying another one of my homeboys, Anthony Gutierrez, was released from NSP on medical. He was confined to a bed in his last years. So, even though he was released,
Still in
uh,
prison.
still in prison, and still taxpayers paying for it, which is really interesting, slant viewpoint on this. So really appreciate all your great reporting always, and
Yeah.
how deep dive you go on stuff, and it's always interesting to read your things. I would definitely encourage everybody to read the article. Join Flatwater Free Press for sure, and get these articles. And these are where we get some of the deep dive ideas that we're talking about here on the show. So definitely do that. If you have any more questions for her, you can always reach her over there at Flatwater Free Press, or you can hit us up on Friends of First Sky Omaha and leave a question there. I know that we all take a look at that. So appreciate you coming on, and we love to have you back again, especially when you are talking about the positive prison story that you're gonna write. I know I'm not making fun, but I'm just saying I can't wait to hear some encouraging news. Actually, what you just wrote was pretty encouraging. I didn't know that there was a
Yeah.
program where the elderly were. I was just thinking that you were just in there getting sick and going into the infirmary and dying. So it's good to know that they got a system, some in place where other inmates are actually helping the elderly get out of bed, brush their teeth, and so on and so forth. A little bit of dignity there. So I feel like that's a positive spin for sure.
Yeah, a lot more humanity than you might expect from a prison situation. So thank you, as Paul said, thank you for your reporting. I also wanted to acknowledge Miss Wanda Lewis's comment, because she's hitting the nail right on the head, saying the more meds an incarcerated person takes, the more money the prison gets to take care for them. Prisoners being sick and elderly isn't motivation for their release; it's actually a cash cow. So yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll let you get on about your day, and welcome back. Welcome back from your travels too. I'm glad you got a chance to step away and hang with some fam.
Can I plug our event, actually?
Oh, yeah, please do.
Yeah,
Yes.
we are going to hold a panel actually related to all of the corrections stories that we've been writing over the past year. I don't know what the official name of our panel is, but we're going to talk about corrections. I think corrections in crisis. That's what we named it. So next week, Wednesday, November 16th at 4:30. This time we're going to be in Lincoln. We were in Omaha for our last panel. We're going to be at UNL's Nebraska Union's Swanson Auditorium. And we're going to be joined by, Inspector General's office. Senator McKinney's going to be with us. A woman who was at the women's prison and is now, a big advocate and just working on prison issues. She's going to join us. I think some experts from UNO, and I will be moderating the discussion. So it'll be really interesting.
Very nice.
Yeah, okay.
Give us when you get a flyer or anything like that, let us know or post it on Friends of First Sky Omaha. We'll definitely see if we can generate a little interest. We have some. We're making some connections in Lincoln too, which is really good. So maybe we can have some of our listeners in Lincoln go show up to the event and all that good stuff. So
yeah, no, I will pass it on as soon as we have it. I think we might already. I'll find out. But yeah, Wednesday, November 16th, 4:30.
There you go. There you go.
You have a good one now. Peace.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Peace.
All right.
All right.
My favorite reporters in Omaha, Natalia Alamdari, is getting down. So we appreciate her coming on, and appreciate you guys sitting through all these interviews and hanging with us this whole show. Yeah.
Jam-packed day.
Jam-packed day. Rome's Reviews is in the chat singing the upper room. The upper room. Let me get going.
Life, man. Classic.
Classic. Also, buddy, I gotta tell you, man, I'm so happy you know about life. Like, man, you know how many young cats I got a hip to it. Yeah, it's just the most quotable.
No, I was raised in culture, man.
That's
very cultured.
8:55. You believe in the concept of time. You're here with the new NWA.
Hey,
news gang with attitudes going down. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
And I tell you what, we got a little bit of time for some haps. The first thing I want to do is put my little special ticker back up. Special Tuesday election edition tomorrow at 7 a.m. Feature Michelle Troxclair. We're definitely going to get on in the morning for an abbreviated show just to encourage people. Tell us about your experience. I think we got a lot of people on here that voted early. To be honest, like we got some of the chat chimers and some of the ghost listeners already did the thing. So that's what's up. But if you're going on Tuesday, which is the last day, we're calling it the last day now because we're doing so much early voting, but really it's vote day.
It's the day.
The day you're supposed to go. It's the day, right? So yeah, shout out to everybody who is spread the word tomorrow that we're going to be on early, and Michelle Troxler is going to do a little soapbox moment just to remind us of the importance of the primary that's happening here, and also we'll be on Wednesday as well. And got some special guests coming on Wednesday. We'll be politicking with P to discuss some of the things. I think this election though there's going to be a whole lot of waiting around this time to get the results. It's not going to be instant like it usually is. They're going to be counting ballots where we'll have a party, but all the decisions won't be in by that night, by tomorrow night. And I read some articles that said it's going to be especially lengthy this time around because everybody's so scared of voter fraud or whatever is going on. So it might be another week before you find out who won, but tomorrow's the day to go ahead and make those decisions and make those calls and arrange rides and encourage 2 or 3 people around you and do whatever you got to do and go make that happen. But yeah, tomorrow's the day, and that's really all that's happening. I don't even care about nothing else at this point. Like tomorrow is vote day.
I mean, it's all day affair. Wake up in the morning with us, catch Michelle Troxclair. I'm sure y'all miss her because I do. So yeah, definitely wake up in the morning and then go over to the Culture House.
Yeah, man. After party at the polls, get out to vote, North Omaha, and join us to celebrate handling your business, food, and raffle entry throughout the day. Kimra Snipes was telling us about this raffle, some of the things that you got to do. Yeah, go ahead and hit her up or go back in the chat and check out her the things that she was saying about that, what the prizes are, and so on and so forth. But election day, November. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Couple of gift cards, 2 family memberships to the Black History Museum. Some restaurant gift cards.
I didn't know you can get a membership at the Black History Museum.
I didn't either, but they giving them away. Okay. and more. So yeah, definitely check it out.
I'm gonna have to go get in there for sure. Also, so yeah, that party's gonna be at 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Culture House, and then just stay on from 7 to 10 because then now you're gonna have some live music, some hors d'oeuvres, some drinks. You can hang out. Election night watch party, like Brianna Full said, it doesn't matter who won, we're still going to celebrate. And also, there's an opportunity to donate. She said we will be accepting donations for the OPS Secondary Success Program's Thanksgiving baskets. Bring a turkey, ham, pie, potato, tomato, a bag of dinner rolls for a free full for OPS T-shirt. So definitely check that out. It's going to be a day at the Culture House after you get done handling your business.
Yeah,
So
get
that's
her
what's up.
done. Get her done.
Wanda Lewis in the chat says, my grandson just turned 3 2 months ago. He can count to 30 in English and Spanish. That's what I'm talking about. And knows all of his ABCs, all his colors and shapes. However, the Head Start program thinks he needs special attention, stating that he has a lisp in his speech. Wow. Ain't that
Wow.
a mess? Rose Review says, ain't no party like a first Sky party because all the other parties ain't ish. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Shame the devil. Wanda Lewis says, they definitely like to target minorities. Yeah, man. We need Brianna Full. We need some other people in the school system really taking care of things for sure. Miss Erica Felt says, a man caught me in my driveway Friday, said, you're Erica Felt. I said, why? I thought he was a process server or something. He just wanted to be sure I vote. Okay.
What? Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know about that. Be careful there.
Yeah. Got randoms pulling up on you.
Randos. You better go vote. Are you Miss Erica Felt? That sounds crazy.
Yeah. That's yeah. Be careful, y'all.
Shout out to the OEAAs, our partners that came through the Benson Theater last night and did the nominee reveal. Definitely go to their website, oeaa.org, I believe it is, and check out the nominees. The show will come up and they'll be reading those off. So that's what's up, man. Lots going on. One more thing I will talk about. Wednesday, November 9th, this is a free event, Rise for Young Ghouls. This is for Native American a month. Lavelle Wells is going to be in there with us. Brought to you by Douglas County and the Benson Theater. And there's going to be a talk back with some elders from the Omaha tribe and other tribes as well. So definitely check that out. Rhymes for Young Ghouls. It's rated R, so if you got kids, you just keep that in mind. Wednesday, November 9th at 7 p.m. Free event, Rhymes for Young Ghouls at the Benson Theater. Definitely check it out. And more we'll save for Wednesday, Friday. We'll save for our big day on Friday for the Haps. But just want to keep in mind there's some things coming up. But yeah, man, tomorrow's the day. Go handle your business if you haven't already. Hit the Culture House up early at 2:00 and celebrate there. And then just go on, stay on to through the evening, man. Hear some live music, eat some food, have some drinks, and celebrate with the people over there at the Culture House. So with that, just want to remind everybody, still working on sending Ernest home. He should not be in jail, so definitely check out that situation there. You definitely gotta go to the Facebook page there. Send Ernest home, get some information, figure out what you could do, find out what you can do to help that situation out. And when we're still waiting on them to send Brother Poindexter home too. He needs to go. Shouldn't be there in the first place, let alone growing old and elderly in the prison system. It's messed up. Messed up. Join us tomorrow, special Tuesday election edition, 7 a.m., featuring Michelle Troxclair. Can't wait to speak to her. Other than that, buddy, you got anything else for the peoples?
No. Big shout out to all of our guests coming through. Brother Greg Gonzalez, Brianna Full, Deshaun Cunningham, Natalia Alamdari, everyone, all the chat chimers for your questions, your input. We appreciate everybody for joining this experience, joining this conversation, and catch the same time tomorrow, man. It's going up on a Tuesday. Until then, take care of yourselves.
Yep. Appreciate you very much. Erica Felt says, talking about that man, says he was canvassing. Apparently he was very kind. Okay, well, still, we're running up on you.
Okay.
You're playing me close. I'm from California. Leia Keiser said, thanks for bringing on those wonderful guests today and helping to GOTV get the vote out. That's what's up. Pop says, phenomenal show with excellent guests. Great job, you guys. You were taking care of business. See you and the First Sky fam tomorrow. Right on, Pops. Appreciate you.
Nice.
Eric was a great show with guests and gave food for thought. Even if I didn't always like the taste of it, was important. Everyone, please be good to yourselves. Drink water. Be safe. That's what's up. 7:00 tomorrow. Wanda Lewis. We'll have an abbreviated show. 7:00 Tuesday morning. Early, so we can go ahead and let people go and do their thing for the rest of the day. So join us tomorrow again, Tuesday, 7:00, featuring Michelle Troxclair. Tuesday special election edition. Really appreciate you guys bearing with us on some of these, the shows out of the ordinary. These impromptu shows that we got going on sometimes. Carolyn Jack says, great show. Marianne Williams says, don't forget to talk to your 18 plus kids about voting tomorrow. And Mama God gives us a good show. Thank you very much. Shout out to all of you, the chat chimers. Shout out to the Omaha Tribe elders who allow us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders that allow us to speak before them. And shout out to all of you, the chat chimers, who allow us to speak with you. Thank you very much for continuing this conversation and sharing the show. And thank you for all the ghost listeners as well that are keeping us in mind and jumping in with information when needed. Shout out to all of our guests that came through. Thank you very, very, very much for everybody who showed up today and came in on time and everything, man. It was great. It was a nice flow. Linda in Chicago says, great show. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. And yeah, you guys have fun and do your thing tomorrow. Let us know. Hit us in the Friends of First Sky Omaha if you voted early. Let us know if you've already done that. And then take pictures, man. Go on. You can snap a picture when you're going in doing your thing. I made a little video because I got the little video glasses now. So I made a little video of me going in and handling business. So we'll see what's happening. We'd love to see some testimonies of how things were when you guys went to go vote. So appreciate it. Marianne Williams says, have a great day. All you guys have a great day. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you Tuesday, tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock for the special show. Until then,
peace.
By the way, Vanguard, this is protected by the red